Hey guys, so this video is over adding and subtracting rational expressions. So the first thing you want to do is you want to rewrite the problem using a common denominator. The second step is combine the numerators and keep the common denominator, then simplify the remaining expressions. Okay, so first let's talk about like bases. So they already have a common denominator. So since these are the same here, we're just going to add shared across. So 13a plus 5a is 18a. And it is still over 4a squared. Then we want to simplify this down. So 18 over 4 is going to simplify down to 9 over 2. And a over a squared is going to be a to the negative first power, so that means that the a just stays in the denominator, and that's your final answer. On number 2, we have common denominators here, so we just subtract across. So 9x minus 7x is 2x. And 12 minus 2 is 10. And it's over 16. Okay, then we want to simplify from there. So all three of these can divide by 2. So 2x divided by 2 is x, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and that's your final answer. On number 3, we have common denominators here. We're just going to add across, okay? There's only a y squareds over here, so that y squared we just pull down. 8y and 2y is 10y, and then that 21 we just pull down, and it's over y squared minus 9. So to simplify this, we're going to have to factor both of them out and then cancel from there. Okay, so our numerator, what multiplies to give you 21 and adds to give you 10 is 7 and 3. So we have y plus 7 and y plus 3. In our denominator, we're going to do difference of squares. So we have y plus 3, y minus 3. Okay, so our y plus 3's are going to cancel, and so that leaves us with y plus 7 over y minus 3 as the answer. On number 4, we have common denominators here, and we can't combine that together, so it's just 1 minus 16a squared over 12a minus 3. Then from there, to simplify, we need to factor. So in the numerator, we can do the difference of squares. So that turns into 1 plus 4a, 1 minus 4a. And then in the denominator, we can take a 3 out of everything, and it leaves us with 4a minus 1. Okay, so right here, the 1 minus 4a and the 4a minus 1, since they have flip-flopped there, that's going to cancel out to equal negative 1. And then that negative 1 we can distribute right here. So negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 4a is negative 4a. And it is all over 3. And that's our answer. Number 5, we have common denominators. Okay, so we can subtract here. So there's not an n squared, so that n squared we just carry over. 3n minus n is 2n. Negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. And it's over n squared plus n minus 6. Okay, so then from there, we want to factor both the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so the numerator, what multiplies to give you negative 8 and adds to give you 2. So we have positive 4 and negative 2. So n plus 4 and n minus 2. In our denominator, what multiplies to give you negative 6 and adds to give you 1 is going to be 3 and negative 2. So n plus 3 and n minus 2. So our n minus 2's cancel, and so we are left with n plus 4 divided by n plus 3. And that's our final answer. For number 6, common denominators. So we have 13k squared plus k squared is 14k squared. And then negative 9k plus 2k is negative 7k. And it's over 6k squared minus 5k plus 1. So in our numerator, we can take out a 7k, and that leaves us with 2k minus 1. In our denominator, we're going to have to do a slip and slide here. So we're going to slip the 6 down here to the end. And so that gives us k squared minus 5k. 6 times 1 is 6. So then what multiplies to give you 6 and adds to give you negative 5 is negative 2 and negative 3. Since we multiplied times 6 up here, here we have to divide by 6. So that simplifies down to 1/3, and that simplifies down to 1/2. Okay, and we also want to get rid of the fraction there, so that turns into 3k minus 1 and 2k minus 1. So our 2k's minus 1's cancel, and so we are left with 7k over 3k minus 1. Okay, so now let's do unlike based examples. Okay, so the very first thing that you have to do is you have to get common denominators. So since 2 does not divide into 3 evenly, what is a number that we can get those to be the same? Well, 6. 6 is probably the smallest number for us to be able to get to the same number here. And it really, if you want to just multiply those together, you can. That's probably the easiest way. Okay, so that means that we need to multiply this side by 3 and this side by 2. Okay, so that ends up turning, well, 3 times 15 is 45, and 2 times 16 is 32. So it's 45 minus 32, and the whole thing, this is going to be a 6x. So the whole thing is over 6x. So then we just want to simplify from there. And all I did is I just went ahead and skipped one step and went ahead and wrote that together, because that's all we're doing, is we're trying to get that to a common denominator. So 45 minus 32 is 13, and it's over 6x, and that does not simplify, so that's your final answer. Okay, on number 8, to get those the same, well, we can turn that into an 8a squared. So what do we need to multiply this by to get that to an 8a squared? Well, we need to multiply by an 8. And this side, to get that to an 8a squared, we need to multiply this by an a. Okay, so 8 times 4a is 32a, and subtraction, and then 7 times a is 7a, and this is over 8a squared. So 32a minus 7a is 25a, and it's over 8a squared. And then we want to simplify. We can't simplify 25 over 8, but with the a's we can simplify. So a over a squared is a to the negative first power, which means that that just turns into 25 over 8a. Okay, all right, flip over to the other side. Okay, first thing, to be able to figure out what we need to multiply by here, we need to go ahead and simplify this down. Okay, so our denominator, we can take out a greatest common factor of 5 out of this. And so when you do that, that turns into k minus 2. So since this is already k minus 2 right there, that means all we have to do to get this the same is we just have to multiply this side by a 5. Okay, so we have k squared plus 16, and then we have subtraction. And over here we have 4 times 5 is 20, and the whole thing is over 5k minus 2. And the reason why I did not multiply that back out is because in the end we want to simplify down as much as we can, so it's already in factored format. Okay, so in our numerator, what multiplies to give you negative 20 and adds to give you 16. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to simplify that first. I was thinking that there was a k right there. There's not. We actually need to combine that together. So sorry, 16 and negative 20 gives you negative 4. So that actually turns into k squared minus 4, and we're still over 5, and then k minus 2. Sorry, so now factoring this, we can do the difference of squares with this. So that turns into k plus 2 and k minus 2, and we are still over 5k minus 2. So now our k minus 2's cancel, and all we are left with is k plus 2 over 5, and that is your answer. Okay, on number 10, so this side is simplified. Over here, we want to factor this because we need to see what we need to multiply this side by. So what multiplies to give you 24 and adds to give you 11 is 8 and 3. So it turns into y plus 8 and y plus 3. So that means that since those are the same, that means this side we need to multiply times a y plus 3. Okay, so that is, on this part, we actually will distribute that in because we want to combine this together. So we have 7 times y is 7y, 7 times 3 is 21, and then we have plus 35, and the whole thing is over y plus 3, y plus 8. Okay, so now to simplify this, we need to combine like terms. So we have 7y, 21 plus 35 is 56. Carry the denominator over. Okay, then what can we simplify? What can we take out of both of these? We can take a 7 out of both, and that leaves us with y plus 8. Okay, so now our y plus 8's cancel, and all we're left is 7 over y plus 3 is our final answer. Okay, on number 11, so we need to factor the denominator here. So what multiplies to give you 6 and adds to give you 5 is 2 and 3. So x plus 2 and x plus 3. That means that this side we need to multiply times x plus 3. Okay, so we have x squared minus 5. And then over here, we have 1 times x is x, so plus x. And 1 times 3 is 3, so plus 3. This whole thing is over x plus 2, x plus 3. Okay, so now we want to simplify by combining like terms. So we have x squared plus x, and then negative 5 and 3 is negative 2. The whole thing is over x plus 2, x plus 3. And then we want to factor the numerator. What multiplies to give you a negative 2 and adds to give you a positive 1? It's 2 and negative 1. So it turns into x plus 2, x minus 1, and it's over x plus 2, x plus 3. X plus 2's cancel, so we're left with x minus 1 over x plus 3. Okay, on number 12. So we want to factor the denominator there. So we can do the difference of squares with that, so that turns into m plus 2, m minus 2. So that means on this side we need to multiply times m plus 2. Okay, so we have m squared plus 5m plus 6 plus 2 times m is 2m, 2 times 2 is 4. And the whole thing is over m plus 2, m minus 2. Now we want to combine like terms to simplify here. So we have m squared, 5m and 2m is 7m, 6 and 4 is 10. M, and it's over m plus 2, m minus 2. Okay, we want to factor the numerator, so it multiplies to give you 10 and adds to give you 7 is 5 and 2. So we have m plus 5, m plus 2. Whole thing is over m plus 2 and m minus 2. Our m plus 2's cancel, and so that leaves us with m plus 5 over m minus 2. Okay, on 13. Okay, this one is a little different. Since there's nothing to factor out, then that means we just need to multiply both sides times each other. So that means this side over here, we need to multiply times w minus 7, and this side over here, we need to multiply times w plus 1. Okay, so we have 5 times w is 5w. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. 8 times w is 8w. 8 times 1 is 8. And the whole thing is over w plus 1, w minus 7. From there, we want to combine like terms. So we have 5w and 8w is 13w. And negative 35 and 8 is negative 27. And it's over w plus 1, w minus 7. Okay, out of the numerator, can we simplify that? No, because 13 is a prime number and 13 does not go into 27, so that is our final answer right there. Okay, 14. Okay, same thing as this one. We just need to multiply each side by each other. So this side we're multiplying times b. This side we're multiplying times b plus 3. So b times b is b squared. Okay, and then it's minus 4 times b is 4b. And it's minus again, because remember this is subtraction, 4 times 3 is 12. And the whole thing is over b times b plus 3. So in our numerator, we want to factor, so it multiplies to give you negative 12 and adds to give you a negative 4. It's going to be a negative 6 and 2. So we have b minus 6 and b plus 2. And the whole thing is over b and b plus 3. Okay, nothing cancels, so that is our final answer right there. On 15, well, we need to simplify it down because we have greatest common factors that we can take out. So out of this side right here, we can take a 4 out of both of those. And that leaves us with p minus 5. On this one, what multiplies to give you 15 and adds to give you negative 8? It's negative 5 and negative 3. So p minus 5 and p minus 3. Okay, so we already have p minus 5s on both sides. That means this side we need to multiply times a p minus 3, and this side we need to multiply times a 4. Okay, so then that turns into 2 times p is 2p. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. We're adding over here. 4 times p is 4p, and 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. And the whole thing is over 4p minus 5, p minus 3. Okay, we want to simplify by combining like terms. So we have 2p and 4p is 6p. And negative 6 and negative 24 is negative 30. Over 4p minus 5, p minus 3. Okay, in the numerator we can simplify that again because we can factor a 6 out of everything. So that leaves us with p minus 5. It's over this. Okay, p minus 5 is canceled. 6 over 4 simplifies down to 3 over 2. So that leaves us with a 3 over 2, then times p minus 3 is our final answer. Okay, last one here. On this side we can factor a 2 out, so that leaves us with r plus 4. On this side we can factor an r out. That leaves us with r plus 4. Okay, so since they both have r plus 4s, that means this side we need to multiply times an r, and this side we need to multiply times a 2. So r times r is r squared. And over here it's subtraction, and 8 times 2 is 16. And this is over 2 and an r, so we can just put that together. That combines to 2r, and we have r plus 4. Okay, so in our numerator here, we need to do difference of squares, so that turns into r plus 4, r minus 4. The whole thing is over 2r and r plus 4. Our r plus 4's cancel, and that leaves us with r minus 4 over 2r. Okay, so that is adding and subtracting rational expressions. Just remember that you need to have like bases in order to just combine them together, because whenever you're adding and subtracting fractions, you always have to have common denominators.